I have an exciting message. At least it's exciting for me, and I've been thinking about this message for so long. For weeks, I've been wanting to start at the very beginning, and I want to tell you about what God is capable of doing in a person's life. And I want to share this with you by going all the way back to the very beginning when God created this wonderful world. When He created this magnificent universe. What He did with nothing is magnificent. And surely every person in here is better than what He started with. And so I believe when we look at what He actually started with, when He created this masterpiece, everyone would be encouraged in knowing what He could do in your life. For the past 12 years, I've been living in Columbus, Ohio. And Columbus was a beautiful city. It was a city and it had a lot of light. There was a lot of clouds in Columbus from the Great Lakes because there would be a lot of clouds there. And so you'd look up at night and you'd see like 4 or 5 stars. Moving back to Dexter, I look up at the sky and I'm like, oh, I'm back! I get to see the stars again. I miss that. Missouri, you get to see the stars. And you go out and you listen to the crickets. Oh, I miss those crickets. I think they're amplified here in Southeast Missouri. They are loud. I'll tell you something I did not miss are those little mosquitoes. Good grief, they're all over the place. Oh, but I love God's creation, don't you? And you look at how God made everything. You look at that story, and a lot of people, they'll turn to Genesis chapter 1, and they'll look at this story about God's creation, and they'll get into arguments. They'll get into discussions about how old the earth is, and there's some neat things to study there. I enjoy studying that, but I think we might miss the point of His creation when you look at what He had to work with and what He turned it into. It's a message of encouragement. Any crafty people in here? Crafty in the good sense. You can take things and you can do anything with it. I have a daughter like that. You put a table, you put her there, and you say, okay, I'm going to put some objects here. You throw ribbon and glue and scissors, and here's an old shoe from a horse, and here's a empty Pop-Tart box, and here's a bunch of glitter, and she goes, and it's a masterpiece. Like, how did you come up with that from this? But what God had to work with was absolutely nothing. So we're going to talk about nothing today. Genesis chapter 1. I'm going to read the first 3 verses. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Very simple few verses. I bet many of you have even heard these verses a million times before. But have you ever just looked at what He actually was working with when He created this universe? It describes it in 3 ways. That second verse, it describes it first of all, and it says, the earth was without form. It was without form. In other words, it was desolate. It was chaos. It was messy. There's nothing there that made sense. You look at what He ended up with, this universe, and it makes a lot of sense. There DNA strands that are woven together, these laws of science, the laws of gravity, and the law of gases, and laws concerning light, and there's all these laws and structure and order. But when He started, it was just messy. Nothing made any sense. It was just desolate. That's what he had to work with. There was no cohesion. It was just a big mess without form. A few months ago, I drove to Jefferson City to meet with the church starting organization, MOVE, to talk about my plans at Dexter. And I moved to town, and I'm eager, and I'm bringing this material to give them more information than they want to know, and I'm praying, and I'm looking forward to being with them. And we all sit down, and we're talking about Dexter and the church plans in Miles City, and my phone buzzes. And have you ever had your phone buzz and you really wanted to look at it? And you know you shouldn't because it's the inappropriate time? My phone buzzed, and I'm like, I really want to see what that is. But I'm in the middle of talking. This is a very important meeting. I can't look at my phone. So I keep talking, and finally someone else starts talking. I quickly do the little. It's from my wife, and it was some picture. What was that? She sent me a text? So I wait until someone else talks again, and I look at it. This is what I saw. Now I want to explain to you what this actually is, because you may not know. This is mint green paint. This is a picture of my stairs in my home. And that is a picture of brand new carpet that my wife just picked out, that she was giddy about, that we had just put in the house here in Dexter just a couple weeks prior to this photo being taken. And I said back, yikes! What just happened? I'm going, what in the world? As soon as the meeting's over, I'm on the phone. What's going on there? My wife is a mess. If you're ever going to paint, don't do it when you have 6 children in your house and your husband lives. That's like the worst time to paint. And that's when she goes to paint. And little 5-year-old decided to help her. Took the can of paint up the stairs. My wife turned and said, oh, we don't need that right now. And she put it at the top of the stairs. 5-year-old's fine and goes away. And then comes in the 2-year-old, who comes and stood right next to the paint can, stood at it, looked up and went, kick. One kick. Boom! It's on the floor, it's on the walls, it's on the carpet, everything's messy. My wife goes into overdrive. Uh-oh, let's go! She takes all the kids out, she shuts the door to the stairs. She goes to YouTube and studies, what do I need to do? She finds out what she needs to do. She gets some food ready for the kids. She gets in the truck, she drives to Walmart, she grabs supplies. She drives home, she goes over, the door's locked. Oh no! All the tools are upstairs. I'll go to the shed. So she gets in the truck. She drives down the shed. She runs in. She grabs the tools. She puts them in the back of the truck. She gets in the truck. She drives to the house. She gets out. All the tools are gone. The tailgate had fallen over. All the tools are back at the shed. Ah! Have you ever had mess come into your life that just kept spreading? And the chaos just keeps growing and you can't stop it. I tell you what, praise Jesus, I was in Jefferson City. I am so glad I wasn't there that day. Oh, I missed out on so much stress. And that's a good thing. And I tell you, it's one thing when the chaos that's in your life is mint paint, that's one thing. When the chaos that's in your life is a relationship, when the mess in your life is your home, is your job, is yourself, and your own mess that you make of yourself, and it keeps growing, I tell you, it can be overwhelming. And if there is chaos in your life, if you look and you just go, it's just desolate. It's like that. It's like post-op. I lost the word. Mad Max. You know what I'm talking about. It's that type of mess that's desertish. That's when it's overwhelming. And if that's you today, I want to tell you this very encouraging message. That from the very beginning, what God is an expert in is He can look down at chaos and He can speak direction. And He can set it on course, on a positive direction with His words. And that's what God does. If you have chaos in your life and you're sitting there wondering, can God do anything in my life right now? I want you to know He can. He can speak direction into your life. That's what He does. That's what He's been doing for thousands of years, giving people guidance and values. And you're going, how can He possibly make a difference in this relationship? You have no idea what it's like to live with Him. You have no idea what it's like to live with her. You have no idea what I'm going through and how many times I've blown it. I'm telling you, God's a God who speaks direction and gives wisdom and guidance. He teaches us about patience and gentleness and goodness. And He teaches us how to live a life that's infectious for others. He gives direction to anyone who's living a chaotic life. And that's actually when He did His best work. When there was nothing on the table except without form. He rolled up His sleeves and He made everything you see. Now it describes it in the second way. Not only says that it was without form, it also describes it with this word. It says it's without form and void. It was void. It was empty. It was missing any type of substance. There was no matter. There were no rocks. There was no land. There was no stability. It's just emptiness. Have you ever felt like your life was completely empty? There's a man that I haven't been able to get in my head that I sat down and talked with that I couldn't get him out of my head because he's someone that seems like he has so much going for him. He has a beautiful wife and 2 great kids, and he has a ridiculous job that lets him almost never work, making tons of money, and he has all these vacation homes and travels everywhere. And he starts talking about what he goes through, and I'm like, man, it seems like you have it made. You know, he drives the cool car, and he was a wreck. Miserable. Weeping in my office. Feeling completely empty. Have you ever felt completely empty? Like there's a void in your life and you know there's more than you have, and you look around and you probably even think I should be appreciative of what I have, but I just feel like there should be more. If that's you, if you've ever just felt that void in your heart, I'm telling you, I know the cure. I know the cure. Our God is the one who gives people direction, who gives people purpose. He's the one that speaks purpose into people's lives. He's the one that says, sun, this is your purpose. Stars, this is what you'll do. Trees, this is what you'll be. And people, men and women and children, this is what you are. You're my children. You're children of God, and you are going to look like me. And you're going to spread this message to others. God, He's an expert in creation and to taking nothing and doing something with it. And if you look in your life and there's something missing, if there's a void, I want you to know today, I just want you to increase your faith in what God can do in your life. He can reach down and give you purpose. Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you get up? Why do you go about your day? I tell you, if you live just for the day or the week or the month, you'll find it so empty at the end. But if you wake up for all eternity, there's great purpose in that. And God gives people purpose.
If there's an emptiness, I'm telling you, increase your faith in knowing that God can fill that void with his meaning. There's another description here for this word, for this nothing that God used. It says the earth was without form and void and dark. Darkness was over the face of the deep. And if there's darkness in your life, I'm telling you, our God's the cure.
Amen.
And I want to back off this just for a second. I want to tell you just my Darren thoughts. I always have thoughts that other people get frustrated with because I have these thoughts. I'm just going to share my true thoughts. I look at this text and I go, I don't really understand what God made. I don't know. I believe what he made. I don't understand what he made. You see the difference? I go, okay, fine, he made light. I'm fine with that. He made light, no question. I don't understand what he made. Because everything I know about light means that light emanates from something. Light comes from the sun. It comes from stars. It comes from fire. It comes from electricity. He didn't make any of that stuff yet. He just made light. And I've had some people come over and say, well, Darren, he's the light. He turned himself on. Click. Let there be light. I turn myself on. Here's my glory. Maybe that's the light. Maybe he's the source of the light. I think it's a little odd because the text continues to say that he separated the light from the darkness. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's the light. But it sounds to me like whenever I read it, my simple mind, I'm going, it sounds like he made light particles that are just kind of there. Boom, here's light, and it doesn't really have a source that it's coming from. It's like he separated it out and went, okay, day one, there you go. So I don't quite get what he did, but I'm amazed at what he did. I don't get what he did, but he took darkness that had nothing to provide source for light, and he was able to come into this darkness that had nothing to generate it, and he is able to go, light, and there's light. And I'm amazed with this, especially when I consider what God's capable of doing, because I go, that's so cool. So he can come into a situation, he doesn't even need a source. Maybe he's the source and maybe I'm wrong. But he doesn't need a source, I don't think he's the source. I think he just went light, and there's light. And it's just light particles floating around. And he separated this light from the darkness and went, there you go. In other words, it looks to me like God can bring light to any situation. And if there is darkness in your life, true darkness, if there's sin, whether sin around you or sin within you, I want you to know that God can simply speak light, and there's light. He can, there's no darkness so dark that he can't brighten it up. If you have problems with lying, if you have problems with drinking, if you have problems that are too embarrassing to ever share, and you're hoping that no one ever finds out about it, I want you to know that our God is a God who can bring light to that situation. And the text says this. It says, and God said, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the water. And there he was, right next to this nothing. And he spoke. And when he was done, he put this masterpiece back on the table. Our universe was set. And this is what I'd like to ask you to be praying about today and this week. I just want you to ask, Lord, hover over me. Come close to me. Admit to God this week, Lord, my life is chaotic. My life is messy. Give me some direction and wisdom. Lord, my life, mine, is empty. It's void. Fill me up. Lord, my heart is dark, and I want to be clean. Shine your light into my life. Pray for God to get closer. And I want to tell you this, and this is what I want to end with. I want you to think about this. There are over 500 people that have been praying for Miles City Christian Church that don't live in Stoddard County. From as far west as Oregon, from as far east as New York, from as far north as Michigan, from as far south as San Antonio, Texas. People all over the state who've been praying for the need right here in Stoddard County. And I've been listening to all of their prayers as they've been sending me notes and messages. And I've been thinking, there have been so many people praying for this church. I believe God's getting ready to do something huge right here. And I am thrilled that I get to be a part of it.